Welcome to Climate Quickies, bite-sized nuggets of climate goodness from our TED experts in under 5 minutes. In this week's Climate Quickie, we hear from Queer Brown Vegan, aka Isaias Hernandez. Creating a new legacy for what it looks like to work in the climate movement, Isaias shares how they've gone from 0 to 100,000 plus followers and all of the uncomfortable spaces that they've had to navigate to get there, where sexuality, race and gender and how all of that intersects with climate was not a topic of interest. Let's head over to Isaias to explain more. Stay curious.
I have a question, which is that you said something very interesting there about not wanting to take up space. And I would think that you were like the least person to be taking, like there should be space for your voice and voices like yours in this movement. Do you think this idea of not taking up space is also a form of this kind of internalized racism about like judging our own voices and not seeing them as valid as part of these movements?
Yeah, I think it's like in two unfold. One unfold is the idea of like growing up and taught to be silent, taught to like not question things, taught to like respect elders, especially from like academic institutions, seen as more than less than myself. And so I think that definitely has affected a lot of the way of how I'm really treated in this space, whether, you know, I introduced myself as environmental scientist because I did environmental science in undergrad. I'm respected more, but then I use my username, Queer Brown Vegan. It's like they like see me as a joke. And it's hard because when you enter these professional spaces or digital creator spaces, it's like even then you're seen as less than compared to all of these environmental scientists that may have been older or existent doing these other works. And so it's like we're competing against this like other system, but then we have this other system behind us of our community being critical, which is good to have in dialogue. But it's also this idea of where I'm trying to find the balance of like decentering and centering myself at the same time. Meaning that like, you know, not every time I want to speak is important to certain spaces. Maybe there's sometimes you just need to decenter yourself, and that's not a personal attack. That just means that like you're actively leveraging your privilege and power in different spaces and respecting the people that are in those spaces. So I think it's not like a black and white issue. It's more about like determining the idea of like how we fit in these spaces, and constantly month by month the idea of like how I was back in 2018 to now. It's like it's a lot of unpacking for me to do.
Thanks for listening to this quickie.
This episode was created by our usual Superstar podcast team. Until next time,
Stay curious.